Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here, and in this video, we're going to talk about a chart that I almost guarantee you will see nobody else talking about because, as usual, I go down weird little rabbit holes that most people don't seem to be paying attention to. So, I did a post on TradingView, I believe it was this morning. This is the first time that I've posted an idea on TradingView in about 3 years, and so the reason I mention that is because if you look at my history on TradingView, depending on your definition of correct, I have had a 100% accuracy rate going back 8 years. I've never made a post on TradingView that turned out to be completely incorrect. So hopefully this post continues that trend, but maybe I'm due to be embarrassed by this idea. So I want to walk through this idea. It's kind of making it look weird in this window here. So I'm going to open it up in a chart itself and we'll talk about it real quick. First off, what is this chart? Obviously, you see a bunch of signals up here, our tickers. So what this is actually measuring is this is measuring the value of Bitcoin versus the value of what they call the Magnificent Seven. So when I look at this, what's interesting and what's probably going to shock a lot of cryptocurrency investors or speculators, whatever you want to call us, you really weren't a whole lot better off to invest in Bitcoin than you were the Magnificent Seven over the last 8 years, right? This was actually shocking to me. I didn't know this either until I pulled this up. If we look at this was December of 2017. If you bought Bitcoin in December of 2017 and you also bought these 7 stocks in equal values, like $1,000 in each one, you'd actually be up more in your investment in the stocks than you would on your investment in Bitcoin, which is really wild when you think about it. So essentially, Bitcoin has done nothing the last 8 years except keep pace with the Magnificent Seven. It has not run away. The reason that I think that's important to understand is because what that actually shows you is all boats rise with the tide. Bitcoin is not an outlier that is still, in this speculative excess stage where you can take something like $1,000 and turn it into millions. Those days are long gone. And just simply put, the math doesn't support, getting rich off of Bitcoin anymore. But I want to focus on this chart specifically because a lot of people will see this and they will wonder if this means that, Bitcoin is about to crash or what this actually means. So there's a few different things that this can mean. One, this could mean that Bitcoin is getting ready to go down in US dollar value, but it doesn't have to mean that. There's a couple different scenarios. So the Mag 7 could just go up, up, up really fast, and Bitcoin can also go up, but not as fast, and that would make it drop on this chart. That's a feasible scenario if we have a huge blow off top in AI and Bitcoin has a blow off top that's not quite as strong, then you would see Bitcoin go down on this chart. If the Mag 7 stayed flat and Bitcoin started to pull back, it would go down in this chart. If the Mag 7 started to crash, but Bitcoin crashed harder, it would also go down in this chart. So essentially 3 different scenarios where Bitcoin can go down in this chart and be in distribution. And not all of them means that it loses pace versus the US dollar. But yeah, this is just a basic chart. It's a wick-off distribution chart you see here. Buying climax, followed by the automatic reaction, followed by the strength test, followed by signs of weakness, followed by the up thrust. And then if we follow this over, I believe that it's potentially in a UTAB, which is an up thrust after distribution. Okay, so that's what this chart is showing. It's just a fun chart. Most people don't look at relative strength charts, and that's why they miss things in the markets because they're too busy focusing on the US dollar chart. And I'm going to keep the video super short, but just to give you another idea of this, if we look at Amazon, this is Amazon versus the US dollar. It looks a little toppy here, like maybe a double top coming in, but kind of hard to say. But watch what happens if I put Amazon versus the QQQ. So Amazon versus the overall tech market. This is what's measuring its relative strength, not to be confused with relative strength index, which is an indicator. So ready? Oh, suddenly it looks very different. Suddenly Amazon looks very weak versus the rest of the tech market. And this is critical to understand because oftentimes weakness or strength shows up first in a relative strength chart and then in a US dollar chart. This is the exact same way that I was able to predict the top in 2021 on Bitcoin using this chart, right? Back here when at the time in November 2021, it was actually making higher highs versus the US dollar, but it was making lower highs versus the QQQ. And I spotted that bearish divergence and posted this chart on social media in November of 2021. So this chart has been obviously eerily accurate. And again, it's just measuring Bitcoin versus the QQQ. So that's what all these charts are doing, is they're measuring relative strength. In this case, it measures Bitcoin versus the tech market. In that other chart, it was measuring Bitcoin versus the Mag 7. And then, of course, an Amazon chart that we quickly looked at that was measuring, Amazon versus the tech market. So you can really do this with any two charts, and it gives you a lot of insights. So, for example, if we look at QQQ versus SPY, so this is measuring, the relative strength of tech market basically versus the overall market. And we get a chart that looks like this here. It's a monthly chart. And we can see that, we just took out the all-time high here on that, right? Kind of hovering around the .com bubble levels. Do with that information what you will. So a lot of interesting things. Again, been doing this quite a while now, and I have yet to see other people use charts like this on social media. So I would be willing to say that I will probably be the only one posting this chart of distribution unless somebody sees it and starts copying me, which that has happened in the past. But yeah, you can go over and check this out. It's just a quick little description on TradingView, nothing big. And if you are interested, you can go look at some of the past stuff. I find it interesting, and not in a braggadocious way, but I do find it interesting how people will often stumble across my content and then automatically lump me in with perma bears, or automatically lump me in with somebody that just hates Bitcoin without ever doing any research. Like if you look at my post, Litecoin Cup and Handle, that was a bullish post. It was accurate. 2017 repeating itself, that was bearish. It was accurate. And this one, I said, I don't think this would happen, but it'd be kind of cool if it did. It would be like a dream come true for me. And in the post, I literally said it'd be a dream come true because I wanted to buy more Bitcoin cheap. But I said I didn't think it would happen, and it didn't happen. Over here, I was calling for $5,200 Bitcoin. This was in August of 2019. Very few people calling for it, but guess what? That's what happened. Over here, this one was just a shorter time frame. It hit the target, no problem. Over here, this was Litecoin talking about a wick-off pattern. Again, played out. This is why I say that it depends on your definitions of correct. Because if you look at this post on Litecoin, I expected a pump before it dumped, but I expected it to eventually dump to these levels. And I remember specifically at the time, people being like, you're stupid. Litecoin's never going to be that cheap again. Oh, look what happened. Right to my target. Oh, crazy, right? TA. Yeah. This one, I was calling for $8,500 Bitcoin. This was in November 2019. Yeah, we all know what happened there. That worked out. Over here in January of 2020, I was one of the few people saying, I don't think the bottom is in, guys. People didn't like that, but guess what? The bottom wasn't in. Here we are in 2022. This was in mid-2022. And again, I was saying, we're in wick off. We've got more to go, more downside. And of course, people didn't want to hear it. But what happened? More downside, right? I don't claim to have a crystal ball. I think anybody that tells you they know what's going to happen is either lying to you or they're delusional. So I don't know what's going to happen. What I do know is I have the history of spotting things that other people seem to miss. And so I would encourage you to learn how to use relative strength charts. I would also encourage you, if you haven't yet, to check out my brand new blog. I will leave a link down in the description, but right now there's only 2 posts on it. The first one is talking about AI and how it could lead to a Great Depression 2.0. And the second one is, of course, my opinion that Bitcoin is probably the biggest Ponzi in history. And you can read all about that through here. You can read about Ponzi mechanics and how Bitcoin uses those exact same mechanics. You can read about diminishing returns. So this is something that a lot of people don't understand, right? To move Bitcoin from 1K to 2K in value took billions of dollars. To move it from 100K to 200K takes trillions of dollars, okay? This is, again, my reasoning behind all this. It's a well thought out thesis, why I believe a 95 to 99% crash is not only possible, but likely. And then I also give the strengths, right? Why I think these things. And I also give some potential weaknesses to my argument, explaining why maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is not what's happening. because again, anybody who says they know is either delusional or lying to you. And typically, if somebody says they know is going to happen, they're trying to take your money. They want you to buy something from them. Oh, I know everything. Come buy my trade advice. EMOT says that, run as fast as you can. All right. And then, of course, my conclusion. So you guys can read all of that over on the blog. You check it out. Again, there's only 2 posts right now. One's about the Bitcoin Ponzi, and the other one is about why I think AI could lead to a very severe recession, even Great Depression type of levels. And again, same thing, thesis strengths, potential weaknesses, and I break down all of my reasoning behind these things. All right. So there's a couple of charts, some fun stuff. Again, I'm not calling right for the exact top in Bitcoin right this second. I think that Bitcoin still, could have a blow off top, which could take it higher. I have sold roughly two thirds of my Bitcoin, but I do still have orders on the exchanges sitting around the $173,000 mark, in that ballpark. That's not financial advice. I'm just giving full disclosure on what I'm doing. So I am still hoping that we have a final, gasp of, upside, along with the stock market. I hope they both have a blow off top so that I can cash out higher. But I do think we're nearing the end of the cycle. It's in August. Several months ago, I said I thought the cycle would end probably in November of 2025. So we're quickly approaching that date. So me personally, I'm not looking to load up on new investments. I've just been taking profits on what I do have. And these are the reasons why, like these charts and many other reasons as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And again, I'm going to leave a couple of links down below. There'll be a link to my blog. I'm also going to leave a link to my Spotify. I would really appreciate it if you go check out some of the music I'm releasing. It's all very personal to me. It's all autobiographical. And so a lot of it's got to do with mental health and just, struggles that a lot of us go through in life, not necessarily with mental health, but just different struggles. So I'd appreciate any love and support you guys can offer on that. I have a whopping 4 followers on Spotify right now, so you could be one of the top 10 or the first 10 in if you act fast. And also, please remember, I am some guy sitting in a spare bedroom, which means that nothing in this video is financial advice. And you should always go out and do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, the stock market, precious metals, Forex, or any other tradable asset. All right. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment, and go check out the Spotify and also my blog. And as always, please remember, trade safe.